happened right at the time when I
The
played this
dis
map.
the disad spot's a little mickey, but the ad spot can actually be pretty good, particularly against teams that don't know that it exists.
Is the Mickey spot next to the fence?
Yeah, it's outside of right spawn.
Yeah.
Okay. I have OBS recording.
Okay, I'm just
They'll
gonna
just join
start
midway through.
because. Yeah. All right, so I'll go over calls first. To kind of preface this before I start, this particular map plays a tiny bit different than the rest of the 5CP maps. Um, on other 5CP maps, we've gone over these things called transition periods. In Snakewater, you have like lobby, and process, you have like choke and lobby pushing into last, and areas where generally your team will get buffed prior to pushing in. But because of the layout of this map, is essentially a straight line, like literally a straight horizontal line, and it's split amongst the like the left and right side of that horizontal line, going all the way to blue side, and then it's mirrored. So it's kind of similar to how product differs to bagel and clear cut, but it's not. Uh, the rollouts and stuff like that are not on the same side like in product. Like it is mirrored, so both soldiers will always be rolling out. Like both teams will always be rolling out through left spawn and stuff like that. So, but the points are quite literally. If I clip through the wall here and go in a completely straight vector, you will see like here's last, here's second, here's mid, and then it's the same deal for blue, right? So it's a complete straight line. There's no real diagonal layout to this map. So as a result, some of the defaults and plays and just general stuff like that are going to differ. But the main big like change about this map is the fact that there really aren't that many transition periods. There's really only one, and I'll go over that later. So to start, I'll just go over basic comms. Uh, Obviously, you've got left and right spawn, but this map's calls are going to kind of show its age in the fact that because it's split with a horizontal line, most of the callouts are going to just be the same callout but on the left or the right. So, for example, for last, you have left spawn, you have right spawn, you have left yard, you have right yard, you have left shutter, and you have right shutter, and then you have top right, and then you have top left. Like crazy, I know. And then you have upper pipe and lower pipe. That's it. Lower pipe and upper pipe meaning the you differentiate the two by the side that connects to your spawn. So the right pipe will always be the upper, and the left pipe will always be the lower. Okay. And to be honest, that whole like left right shtick is going to be like that for a majority of the callouts in this map. So yeah, so that's the last calls. You can go into specifics if you really want to, like oh he's by right tire, and it'll mean that. But most of the time when you're defending last, particularly with how open it is, if you just call that they're pushing in through the left or something like that, like it's so open that your team just has to look like not even 15 degrees in that direction and they'll see the entirety of the other team pushing in. So you don't really have to be super specific. Um, so moving on to like second and forward towards mid. Uh,
Well,
so this is all second, and basically this whole area is kind of split into the flank, and then it's split into the main shutter. So to kind of briefly go over comms, obviously, when you're attacking, the shutters that you're pushing out of will flip. So if you're on offense, this will become right shutter will become left, and left shutter will become right, obviously. Um, in terms of calls, this is called I've heard it called many things, but the most unanimous that I've heard most people call it has been lunchbox. This can be, and this is called spiral. Um, I think you guys should just use those too because I'm pretty sure it's the most like universal.
I think I've only
Um,
called that spot lunchbox, like the
yeah.
entire space.
Well, it used to be called window room because in an old version it had a window, but it doesn't anymore. So I think that's where lunchbox became adopted. But anyways, moving on. So this area in here, this whole tunnel all the way down to that little area here is called drop down. This is kind of just it's like a ratty route that you can take as a defender if you manage to get like a flank pick on their roamer or their flank scout. If he gets too overzealous, you can try to counter sack through here. It's kind of a long stretch, and it takes a while for a scout to get to the end of the tunnel, and it's a little low ceiling, so it's risky. You're gonna either take a while or do self damage to get through it. But yeah, so that's the flank on second. This whole area, so up top here is called heaven. And then the area in here, I mean, you'll have shutter, which I mean, there's a few shutters on this map, but again, it's context dependent. And then this area is called Z. All right. So shutter, Z, heaven, lunchbox, and then spiral drop down. Okay. And then when you move past in heaven, did they remove the ledges here?
I don't think so.
They shouldn't have. They've still
Okay,
been
no,
there.
they
Yeah.
did. They didn't. All right. I thought they jutted out a little bit more, but I guess not. And then obviously when you are looking to sack into last or anything like that, you know, offense wise, this will be top right for you guys. This will be top left, and then vice versa for defending. Um, so that's kind of it for second. And when I get to the next area, I'll explain what I was referring to in terms of the whole like this map differs a little bit to the rest of 5CP. So this area is where it kind of gets a little bit unique to Granary specifically. So this is probably the like one of the largest portions of the map, and like the most frequent that players are going to be moving in and out of. So this serves as like the main transition portion of the map. The way that Granary generally plays out is if you control yard, then you most likely control mid, or you most likely control second, depending on whether or not you're defending or attacking. Um, so if you're defending and you own yard, chances are you are going to be able to push into mid. But if you're down a player, you're at disad, whatever, you do not usually have the ability to control yard. If you do, if you try to, you're putting yourself at a big risk. So it's basically like imagine that this whole area is effectively what choke would be on process, if that makes sense. So usually it's the attacking team that has the advantage of having control over yard and then pushing into second. And from there, it's a little bit easier for the defending team because they have a left-hand peak. I mean, sorry, a right-hand peak. But this is the sort of like area to control. This is the high value because if you control this area, it's very hard for the other team to counter sack, and it's much easier for you to kind of play the spam game and use the shutter to your advantage to block the other team's spam and peak on your own terms, and then eventually be able to kind of just like bully them out or try to flank shove with buffs. And your medic is in an extremely safe spot here because he effectively can't really be sacked onto. The only way that they could get behind you is through drop down, and that's kind of a hike for them to go all the way from up there through the tunnel, down, drop down, and then onto your medic. So I'll go over a little bit more about how to control this and the importance of it. But anyways, moving back to comms, this area I'm gonna keep it simplified. There are niche little like tidbit callouts, like this is called like silos and stuff like that. But for the sake of simplicity, this is left yard, this is right yard, this is called garage. Okay, this is rollout, also called window, but I think window is an archaic call out for this. At this point, just call it rollout. I mean, sorry, window is an archaic call out for this position. Just call it rollout. And then this is choke. And that's kind of it. Like in terms of the spawns, I mean, you can this is the forward spawn too if you want to call that out as well.
There's a rat
Yeah.
spot under forward spawn.
Yeah.
Our team almost got critzed into it. The entire team
there's a couple of ratty spots that you got to look out for on this map, but yeah, for the sake of calls, it's just this is the left side and that's the right side, and then they're both
I
called
see.
yard, and then you
I see tall wall, buggable wall. That's all
yeah,
I see.
there's you guys can fool around on your own, but those are the calls for the entirety of yard. Let me see what
Honestly, Drew, the way I differentiated it, since your pocket, I always called like X side, so choke of yard or garage yard. So I made it easy, but left and right depends on how you want to call it, Drew.
I think left and right is just easier for the sake of like it's just quicker to calm because it's one syllable, and it
Mhm.
also it follows that sort of line shtick I was talking about earlier. But you guys can do whatever is most comfortable for you.
Yeah.
But moving on to mid, again, it's pretty damn simple. Again, it's going to be split down the left and right side. So this area here is called crack or sneaky. I think crack uh, is more modern than sneaky. I think sneaky is the archaic call out for that. And then you'll have left crack and right crack, and then you'll have right red and left red to differentiate the crates depending on what side they're on. And then you have up there is called catwalk. That is a really common spot for medics, scouts, and demomen to roll out. Kind of depends on how you want to play the mid, but and then from there, you have each team's garages on the left and right side. So if you're red, the garage will be on the left, and vice versa if you're on the other team. And then the forward spawns for both teams for the mid forward spawns are right next to garage, right there and there. And then obviously the chokes are diagonally mirrored. So yeah, so you guys have probably noticed like in addition to the horizontal sort of like split in the fact that the points are all in a straight line, the actual individual points themselves, particularly the mid, is actually split along a diagonal line. And yeah, I mean that's kind of the only like area of the map that actually like accentuates that. But anywho, that's pretty much it for calls. It's a pretty damn simple map considering it's just a straight line. I think the flank will have a much easier time keeping tabs on the other team's flank players. They'll have much more time, also a much easier time damage farming because generally the medic is within like closer reach than most other 5 CP maps because it is just a straight line. So, does anyone have any questions about calls before I move on to defaults? Nope. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go back to spawn, and I'll go from last forward out towards the mid. So to briefly go over the gun spots I was talking about, you already said Lo-Fi that you know the disad gun, which is going to be back here. Just put the gun like right here, enough so that it's protected from the entirety of right, and then can still look at point. And then when you have add, I'll go over the rest of the defaults so that the gun spot seems more obvious. So generally, the way that it's split up is you want to make sure that you have kind of similar to what a soldier would do on Gully Wash last of making sure that launch pad is clear. You generally want to have a soldier keeping tabs on heaven on top left and top right. He can kind of rotate between the two pipes. He can play back if he wants to, and then like do like a C-tap wall shot bomb to just like scare off people that might be trying to peek or sack through top left or right. So you keep a soldier kind of rotating between the pipes to take care of upper. You'll have a soldier playing on the bottom right to keep like snipers and stuff like that at bay from peeking right. The reason that it's a sniper is because generally it's much easier for a demo man to hold out left because he has this wall here to protect him. So he doesn't really have to worry about getting spammed out or speed shot on, and he can be just as effective lobbing his sticks and shit like that over this wall and having almost full protection. So you'll designate a soldier to here, and also if they manage to shove through right, a soldier has a much easier time if he's playing close to just using a single rocket to jump out. So you have a soldier on right, soldier on top. You'll have the medic playing here near the pack. This is where the dispenser and the gun will go as well. So you'll have the medic kind of playing here like he would on maps like Sunshine or Snakewater, where he's playing forward like against the wall that leads into second. Like you can basically like imagine that this would be like your lobby, quote unquote, and then he's playing against the wall here to prevent getting speed shot on and sack through the window. The main thing that you have to worry about though is obviously making sure that a soldier does not just get into your top left or right for free and shoot a 90 HP rocket down on top of your head. More so of a threat from top left than right.
So would you want it on the planks for the gun then, or just like in that general
Yeah,
vicinity?
you can put it in the center if you want, like right here. This is fine. It doesn't really
Okay.
matter, just as long as it's within this area, this vicinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, Demo Man will be here with Beam, Medic will be here with the dispenser and the gun, kind of babysitting him. And then Drew, if you want, Sniper's a good option here. You could try to work in a play and maybe play. I've seen some people do some spy plays. Specifically, I've seen people do spy plays and manage to get a spy to go all the way up through pipe and go all the way through upper, especially if it's not being contested by the other team, and actually go all the way through drop down or through spiral into lunchbox and stuff like that. So there's potential there because the distance that the other team needs to cross to actually get to the point through one of these choke points is pretty far. So you have a little bit of leeway, and also that's a ridiculously long sight line for a sniper to hold, and you have basically a wall here completely protecting you from their sniper. So you kind of just get free reign over left, top right, and top left as well. So not a bad option here. And that's kind of it for the evens last hold. I should have clarified that I was going over evens positioning for last. Disad on last is going to play pretty much the exact same how it would on almost every other map. You're going to default to the opposite side of your gun, and then you're just going to kite to the side that it's on, which will be right. So you're playing left, building if you have the time to, and then as soon as you see them using, which the most common spot for teams to use it on ad, by the way, is through left shutter. So just anticipate that. Then you just kite right. One thing you got to be careful of though is that it's a pretty long kite because it's a huge spawn. So if you want to pre-kite, or if you want to have somebody deep spotting they're using, or something like that, like a soldier or whatever, and then you want to pre-kite it to your sentry gun, do what you got to do. Just make sure that you're not in spawn by the time that they get on the point. What else? Not really too much else to go over on the last hold. It's pretty damn straightforward for defending. Sniper is kind of good on both disad and ad because you can be just as effective from spawn as you would if you were outside of spawn. So if you want to play sniper on disad, Drew, and you think maybe they'll milk it a little bit, and you'll think they'll round the corner kind of carelessly, and you might be able to get like a drop or a demo pick or whatever the fuck, and then you can switch back to scout to taxi your med. That's also an option to consider. That's kind of it for defense. Any questions about defaults for defense, or everyone kind of get the gist of what they got to do here for evens? They know where to anticipate the sacks.
The soldier
First,
playing on
come
pipe.
in. You can go
The
next.
soldier playing on pipe. Can they if they're not being contested in heaven, can they venture farther, or should they stay?
It's dangerous. It's tricky up there.
It's really low ceiling. It's very close quarters. I think the only time that you should ever push beyond this doorway is if they sack and you want to try to get in for a counter sack. In which case, absolutely get in through, especially if it's uncontested, because that means that if they're buffing their soldier to get in through a sack, most likely through either up there or through here is really common. They'll clear the sticks, and then someone will hold the shutter open for their soldier to speed shot through. Is a really common sack. I don't actually remember the speed shot setup because I know that this low overhang makes it you have to do it from a particular spot. But anyways, the sacks will either come in through top left or right, or left shutter if you're defending. So not a bad idea to maybe go further on the counter sack through upper and get on top of their medic as he's trying to backpedal after buffing his soldier. So, but generally speaking, if they aren't sacking, no, don't go beyond that positioning, because then you're just going to be you're going to put yourself at big risk of becoming a pick. Because what's to stop another soldier from just holding this and just having a complete and total like advantage right hand peek on you and just shitting on you if you try to walk forward? So, little too risky. But as a counter sack option, yes, I would say that's good. Other counter sack options are the soldier that's playing through right can potentially get through the shutter here and maybe try to kind of walk forward here and then get through fast and do a one rocket off the wall. But I'll leave that up to you guys to sort of figure that out on your own. I'm not a soldier player anyway. Okay, so that's defending last. Pushing into last. I'm just gonna do these like defense then offense just to keep it simple. Pushing into last is we already kind of like started talking about it. When you get control of second, the main area that your combo is going to be peeking, if they are not working a sniper, is through right to try to see if you can sack your soldier or whatever. If they don't have a gun set up, not a bad idea to see if you can maybe actually take the space a little bit and try to peek forward. That way, your soldier can actually get out and do a a one off the ground, one off the fence here, because the fence is tall enough to do a proper sack off of, as if you were like bombing through a choke. So if you want to be quick about it, maybe do like an off timing. You can look to see if you can temporarily control this area here and then rip your sack and then pull back. Not a bad idea. Otherwise, buff up your soldier while he's in heaven and see if you can get him to get through top left or right uncontested. And then if neither of those works, this is a really, 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 really safe map for the 4-man. It's ridiculously easy to set up because you're basically going to have absolutely zero congestion once you guys control second and you're looking to sack into last. So this would be a very opportune time for you guys in scrims to practice the 4-man because it cannot be made any easier for you guys than on this map. So consider it. Throw it in the playbook just as like a a one-off thing if you want to just try it, and if it works, then you can keep doing it. Aside from that, offensive sniper is a very good option here. You can kind of work him through either shutter. Wouldn't really bother with having him go heaven, mainly just because this is just so like it's so punishable by a soldier who spots you. So just have him peek a shutter. Work your demo man to make sure that the soldier that's close holding right gets bullied out, and you can peek him left. I like peeking my sniper left because if we manage to either get the soldier pick here or bully him out and force him to jump, the sniper can completely peek this uncontested by the gun. And he has like a really, really, really wide sight line. The only thing that you would really need to watch out for is the other team sniper peeking from right there. So, but aside from that, even still, you can even peek with this tire acting as cover to see if you can peek the med. So, not
the
a bad
4-man,
idea.
do you want us the combo to end out in yard again? So basically get full buffs here in lobby, this like lobby area.
Yeah, you'll pull back, as far comfortable as you guys think you can. You can kind of pull back to 2 locations. You can either pull back to choke, which takes less time, but you get less vision, or if your medic is pretty good at making the jump quickly to get up into here, you guys can pull back to roll out, and you'll get better vision, and then you can just pull back through garage. And if you're feeling zesty, you can go catwalk and then be on height if they decide to really push you guys further and try to get that counter sack on you guys.
Okay.
But yeah, either works. Whatever is quicker in the moment, I guess. And yeah, I mean that's kind of it for
Because the
pushing into
plan
this.
I could see for the 4-man is, let's say if Drew dies or Drew goes in with a, or like basically Drew goes and changes class and it's basically evens. Drew goes in, I stay scout with Foish. I have everyone buffed. Drew goes sniper, and then see if we could get a pop because I know Drew's really good at it.
Yeah,
Like a
Could be
3-man
something
with a
maybe.
sniper.
you're talking about after you rip the 4-man.
No, this is during the 4-man.
If
For
you're
a
running
4-man.
if you're running a 4-man, you can't have a sniper.
Okay.
Yeah, just you can't. You have to have. I mean,
I know it's just a niche timing.
Yeah,
I
guess I shouldn't say you can't have a sniper. Like you technically can, but you're gonna have a much more likely time of actually getting something positive out of being a distraction as a scout as opposed to a sniper. I mean, maybe if the other team is like turbo fearing your sniper, you can potentially shove them into a corner, but or like force them out of your sight line, so it makes it like more grouped up or whatever. Like it can work, but generally I like to just have 2 scouts in case something happens to the other scout before the 4-man can happen or whatever. Then you have a taxi to get your med out just in case, just as like a sort of like a fail safe in case something goes wrong. But if you find running offensive sniper really works and these teams are just like absolute cowards against it, then fuck it, why not? I guess do whatever works.
The thing is, it's just such a wide sight line. Drew has so much playground to play with.
The problem with it is that generally if you're running offensive sniper, the rest of your team has to kind of like play around that, particularly your medic. And your medic needs to make sure that your sniper is being buffed when he's peeking. Your demo man needs to shift his stickies to trap off your sniper so he doesn't get shit on by a soldier or something like that. So doing that and having that play style and then segueing it into a 4-man can just be a little awkward, and I don't want you guys to get tripped up. I'd rather you have like a solid basic understanding of the 4-man down. as opposed to trying to mix in some other stuff. But again,
We
I'll leave it
can.
up to
I
you
think we can
guys.
mix in some other things once we've tried out the format a good amount.
So that's pretty much it for pushing into last. For pushing into second, to be completely honest, the only time that you're ever going to be pushing into second is if you have some sort of advantage. The reason I say that is because it's shit. Like, it's a shit point to push into when you're defending last. It's really, really, really close to last, which is good for you guys, because that means that even if you find that you're lagging behind, or your flank scout is off the ball or off pace about switching back to scout or whatever, you don't lose a shit ton of time with the cap because of how close it is. But if you guys don't have any advantage or whatever, and you're looking to push in back into second, it's not worse than, say, I don't know, like Snake Water or whatever, where it just takes fucking forever to get out of the point. But it's difficult for different reasons, in the fact that it's really easy for teams to just like kind of spam you out if it's even players or even Ubers or whatever. So realistically, kind of like almost every other 5CP map, you guys are looking to push back into second from last with some sort of ad, whether it be man or like player ad or Uber ad, whatever. It's like basic sixes and stuff. Pushing into second, I would recommend just going through left shutter. You can just clear more shit that way. You just have to watch out and make sure that you have a soldier, preferably not scout, clearing heaven. Just because it's easier for him to take this one than it would be for a scout who's more squishy. Okay, so that's pretty much it for pushing into last. With ad, like I said before, your default to pushing into last with ad should be through right shutter, because most teams are going to be playing outside of their right shutter, and you have protection with this wall against a sniper, so you don't have to worry about like NC Ubering behind the fucking shutter and then walking through. Like, you can walk out a little bit and check for traps and whatnot, which are very easily clearable on this map. You can like air det your stickies too. You have your scout bait the shutter, and then you can air det to get the traps, whatever. And then you can kind of walk out and get a little bit of a visual as a pocket scout before you actually pop. So you don't have to use like before the shutter, like on Snake Water or whatever. You get a lot more space. Okay. Any questions about last? Can I move on to second?
I didn't have any
Everybody
questions.
Everybody kind of knows what they need to be doing for both offense and defense. Okay. So second is where this map gets a little tricky. And this is where I'm going to kind of go over yard control, which is the big kahuna of this entire map. It's the whole reason why this map plays a tiny bit differently than everything else. Yard control is really, really, really important for two reasons. One, because you basically completely control the flank, and the other team is stuck holding like back there, because there is really no flank route for the other team to take if they're trying to defend second. And two is, if you don't have proper control of yard, which it's pretty difficult to get to hold yard like defensively, but I've seen some teams do it. There is some ways that you can do it, where you have your demo man pretty much lock out choke, and then you have your soldiers deal with garage, since there is no real actual flank route that you have to worry about. But if you defensively lose control of yard, you need to make sure that as the defenders that you get back into a position to hold second like as soon as possible, because it's really, really, really easy for players to get through garage quickly on their flank. And if you're stuck here, or you're holding this forward or whatever, that's a long fucking distance you gotta cross as like a demo man or a scout or whatever to get back into a defensive position on second. So when I talk about yard control, I'm talking about whether or not you guys actually have it. Like, think of it like a forward hold in Koth, okay? Do you have the players? Do you have explosive players? Are they healthy? Is your medic fully rolled out? Is he healthy? Like, check off all these things mentally as quick as possible to decide whether or not you even have the ability to hold yard, because if you get caught here, you basically lost second. That's what I wanted to accentuate about this, because it's the only real transitional period of this map. And if you die in it, it's like equivalent to trying to hold, like, it's like a pseudo last hold, essentially. Think of Snake Water, right? on Snakewater, you're not going to hold lobby if your objective is to hold last, right? You're going to hold the doorway leading into lobby, right? So, or you're gonna hold the doorway that goes from lobby into last, right? Like if you're a demo, for example, you hold that right doorway. Think of it as the same logic for this. You're not, unless you have all your players up to be able to hold this area here, this is not like a defendable position for you if you don't have that available. And you'd much rather go back to here where you can get like your sticks up, or if you're a soldier, you can get buffs from your medic and hold this closer, or if you're a flank player, you can get buffs from your medic and then you can hold this more passively and kind of deny their flank from shoving you. Like you just want to make sure you don't get caught in yard, TLDR, all right? And then if you're attacking, it's a hell of a lot more important for you to make sure that you are spotting if any of these players are catchable in yard, and then telling either your players that you're going to jump these guys, or that they're catchable in yard. Like you got to communicate that, because this is a catchable position for the other team. If you realize that like some of them are out of position, or let's say they're down a player or two and you still see their medic and their pocket scout in yard, and be vocal about that. Say like, yo, they're catchable in yard, because if you catch them in yard, because of the distance between second and last, it's not that hard to just cap second and then cap last and then win the round, right? Because of how close this is to last. So I can't stress the importance of just like comms and positioning and making sure that you do not get caught if you are defending second in yard. Like this is a very, very dangerous and convoluted area. So, so to kind of go over, if you want to try to hold it, actually, I'll just go over the default hold for second first before I go over defending yard. So the default hold for second is you're gonna have your medic playing kind of just like back here on the left. He doesn't really have a set position. He can rotate to buff his players a little bit like this, because he's not really in that dangerous of a position back here. Your demo man is going to be kind of like corner peeking this. You don't want to over peek this high ruler, because if you over peek this, you can get caught from Z. So you kind of want to play the corner at a bit of a distance and just trap this off. Just trap off shutter. Good little rule of thumb I like to have is similar for my mid fights. I like to make sure that I always have a minimum of 4 sticky bombs in my clip whenever I'm peeking this, because 4 sticks is plenty to be able to stop a scout from pushing this and get the pick even with full buff. Same for a demo man. And then if somebody decides to peek you from Z, you have a couple of projectiles in the clip to be able to defend yourself. So Demo Man will be left-hand peeking this with the beam up his ass. Pocket Scout will be looking to kind of just apply pressure support. If the team decides to sort of like wide swing, like left-hand wide swing this, you kind of want to be there, Drew, to deny that. Or Lo-Fi, I don't know who's playing Pocket Scout for you guys these days.
It's still me. It was just for
okay,
some stuff on product.
Okay, then yeah, Drew, you're gonna want to basically be your henchman for your demo man here. You want to make sure that he is kept, this whole area near CCTV is just kept clear. Apply pressure, because you can still do pretty fat damage from right here. This is like a good 40-50 HP meat shot if most of the pellets connect. Which that in combination with like a stick or two is enough to completely deny this area. So you just want to make sure that these guys don't get too overzealous when peeking into second. You have the advantage of the right hand peek, so use it. With that, both your flank players will be kind of playing. You guys want to make sure that you're playing pretty passively when holding the flank. Don't overpeak, because this is just a really, really, really shitty area. It's low ceiling, there's overhangs, it's crap. So make sure that you're playing relatively passively. As a scout, I like to play here, and then I like to have my soldier play on the height advantage here, because it's pretty easy to kind of conceal yourself from here. And shoot a rocket and then walk to the right. Plus, also the soldier having the pack is much more important than the scout having the pack. So, plus, if the soldier is playing here, and let's say you guys had actually managed to generate a pick, or one of their combo players dies, soldier's in a quick position to go through drop down here if he wants to. So that's how my flank like to play it, at least. And when I was playing flank scout in advance, that's how I played it, and it worked fine.
Okay.
And then, other than that, that kind of just leaves the last soldier. Realistically, you are kind of flexible, Pocket Soldier. You don't really have like an absolute like set position. I mean, there might be invite teams that play it like that, but from most invite teams that I've seen, the soldiers are pretty flexible in terms of just being able to do each other's roles anyway, regardless of map. So if you kind of want to play it as an additional like fire support on point, you can do that. You can even do it all the way up from heaven too. or if you want to play Up in Heaven with the intention of counter sacking through it, through drop down, you can do that too. It just kind of like vocalize if you're gonna like what you're gonna do, or if you aim to make a play for the counter sack, just make sure that you're calming that so that your roamer knows that he doesn't have to counter sack. Plus, if you play up here, you are in a better position to get buffs for the counter sack too. And you can also potentially do the super greedy speed shot that for some reason Soapy Meister loves to spam, which is you do one wall shot here at like head height, and then you do a speed shot through the shutter. It requires a little bit of like wonky timing, but you can get like right up in the medic's face like instantly if you get good at it. So you have to aim almost straight down for the speed shot though, because you don't want height. You want more speed than height. So just make sure if you can practice that if you want, and you should do that with a full buff. Aside from that, if you notice that your demo man's getting dicked down on point, you can always just drop down to here and then just like kind of play the height here to spam to get them to like just spam them off. This is a pretty unspammable position from up here. It's more powerful than most people think. You can catch buffs relatively easily. Your medic just has to walk up to like there, which isn't super dangerous. And the only way that they can really spam you is by hitting directs, because you're not really in any splashable area up here. So also not a bad off positioning to play if you want to help your demo man spam out. Aside from that, the only thing that you guys really need to be careful of when defending second is just making sure that they don't just keep poking people through Z for free and getting free spam onto you. Demo, make sure that you're not tunnel visioning this, because if you end up tunnel visioning this too hard and they peek like a soldier through here in combination with this spam, you could potentially come up pick. That's why I can't really stress it, that it's important for you to play at a distance when corner peeking this. Okay, so just keep tabs on Z. But aside from that, flank's job should be pretty easy, and it's just a matter of making sure that you guys aren't taking too much damage for the spam exchange when holding shutter. So that's if you guys lose yard control, which is likely. That's how you defensively hold second. If you guys decide that you want to try to forward hold yard, which I would not recommend personally, I would recommend you guys just get really good at hunkering down like bunkering in second, because it's a lot easier to defend. But if you guys do decide that you want to try to hold yard control so that they can't just like take it over for free, you have your medic play behind play like to the back of silos here, like right here, so that he can get vision on garage from here, right? And so that he can also buff his scout, who will be playing up here to deny soldiers who are going to try to speed shot through choke. And then you have your demo man play here to also throw sticks in lockout choke. He can also designate some of his sticky bombs onto rollout. And then from there, you have your flank scout and your roamer holding the flank and garage here. Don't hold it super aggressively, again, because it's not difficult for a fully buffed soldier to just go catwalk and then just jump you guys. So just be careful. You also have a right-hand peek here as well, so use that to your advantage. And then the other soldier just kind of plays to lock out, roll out. And that's kind of it, to be honest. It's not a very difficult hold, but if you lose a player, you're all very far forward. So it takes a while for you to get back in your defensive positions, every single one of you, besides maybe medic. So you just have to be really careful, right? It's the reward is great, but the risk is also pretty damn high. So if you guys find like that you try it and it's not working, just default to holding second. It's totally fine. And that's kind of it for defending. Any questions about like counter sacks or whatever? I think we already kind of went over. You really only have like two realistic counter sacks, which was the speed shot and drop down. So okay, we'll take the silence as a no. So moving on to attacking second, I'll go over breaking the forward hold if they decide to do it. It's pretty damn easy. All you have to do is you can do one of two things. You can either completely flank shove through garage, which I really like doing because it usually catches people completely off guard. Have a soldier go catwalk, get him fully buffed, and then while he's up there, just have him kind of walk forward with his buff and either bully this pocket soldier out of here, or if this pocket soldier like isn't even playing where he should be, he can just kind of like walk it forward, and just with your buff and also your flank scout supporting you, you can just take over garage. And then from there, if you manage to generate or pick or whatever, the other team will most likely be diverting their attention to the fact that your fully buff flank is shoving the fuck out of theirs. And from there, you can kind of walk your combo forward through choke, or you can speed shot your soldier through choke, or hell, if the demo man's not even like deep sticky bombing, you can literally just do one rocket jump, make the space through here, and land on like Cyan or whatever, and then do another rocket jump to like jump that soldier up there or whatever. Walk your scout through, clear sticks, do whatever you got to do. It's much, much, much easier for the attackers to take control of yard than it is for the defenders to maintain control of yard. So, and for the flank shove, if you guys decide that is going to be your default, which I recommend it to be, if you notice that after generating a pick or something like that, or after gaining the space and having their entire flank fuck off, like you guys have made the space successfully, if you spot that there are players still aggressively holding choke here or whatever, like if you're a soldier and you bully these players out and you see that their scout is still holding up here, their medic is still forward, say like, yo, like that would be an opportune time to say like, yo, they're catchable in yard. Let's jump their asses. So yeah. In terms of let's say that the other team decides not to forward hold and just defaults to defending second normally. The way that you guys are kind of going to go about doing it is it's unfortunately going to kind of feel like a prolonged spam battle. You guys basically have to kind of do two things. The flank needs to chill and not feed, and the combo needs to, while applying forward pressure on the point, which consists of your medic playing around the corner and sticking the beam up his demo man's ass while the demo man spams sticky bombs to get their demo man to fuck off. And then while that happens, you have your scout kind of walk it forward and start to make space with his demo man. Try to keep the beam between the two. So you usually beam your demo man, have him peek, get the demo man to fuck off. You'd call his damage, whatever, like, oh, demo's piped, whatever. And then you would proceed to like switch the beam to your pocket scout while he walks it forward to make space. And you can like try to corner cap. I wouldn't really recommend it because they can just deny you from all the way back here. But and while all that's happening, while you're making that commotion, the combo needs to be focusing on whether or not they're even checking Z. Like if their demo man is even looking to his right at all. Because if he's not, then what your flank would need to do most likely, I mean, you can have your pocket soldier do it too, but I think stacking 3 people on the flank is a little much. You have your soldier get buffed, which again, because your med's playing right here, it's not a long walk. So you have your soldier get buffed. You can have him playing here idly in anticipation for it. And if you notice that the other team isn't checking right, your team backs off, and while they're spamming, you just peek a soldier through Z. And then combined with your scout, demo man, and a soldier peeking Z, you're most likely going to generate a pick, and then from there, second's kind of yours, because if they lose their demo man, second's kind of unholdable for them, most likely. So, unfortunately, there really isn't any greater second play that I know of offensively than that, just because, like, sacks are kind of, like, fake on second, to be completely honest. Like, there really isn't a lot of sackable space. So if no Ubers are in play, then what I just described is applicable, of just peeking your soldier through Z to try to get a pick off the demo man. If there are Ubers, Drew, this would be a time where you need to sort of kind of figure out how the exchanges should work and get good at them, because that's going to be the most likely thing that you're going to have to do. What'll probably end up happening is you have your demo man kind of stick this off and then bait. You call to use him with your medic. You run the fuck down their medic if he's playing close. This can also help if you have a soldier peeking Z to get info on how far up their medic is playing. You call for the exchange, you get the exchange, you back out, and you reset. And then before the Ubers and before both of you guys get full Uber again, then you try to execute that play of peeking your soldier through Z like we talked about. So it's going to be a little finicky. It's going to feel awkward until you kind of get the gist of like actually getting the exchange down, so it's normal.
So for no Ubers, we do the thing you talked about where demo gets buffed.
Soldier through Z. Yeah.
Find out if they're watching Z. If they're not, get soldier through Z, fully buffed.
Don't get him.
Oh no, not through it. Just have him peek and pressure.
Yeah.
Try and generate a pick. If Ubers are in place, take an exchange. Take an exchange, and then back up and then re-exec
and then reset and try to see. I mean, if the exchange goes well for you, you can just take control of second. Like,
Yeah.
you can just try to work your players through. If the exchange goes exactly how it should, in that, you know, both, like, nobody dies and both of the Ubers get, you know, out of the way, then before, you know, both teams begin, you know, furiously fucking building, try to peek your soldier through Z again. Like,
Yeah.
you basically want to make it so that the Ubers are not in play, preferably for only their team. But like, the way the play can still work of peeking your soldier through Z, if neither teams have Ubers, which is the more likely of the two.
Okay.
So that's kind of how second plays. It's shitty. I don't really like the point, either defending or attacking, because it's really boring, because it just feels like a glorified mid fight. But that's just kind of how it is, because sacks are kind of fake on Granary, almost like as a whole. Okay, so that's kind of it. If you guys are at ad, I mean, it's an ad push into a very, very, very enclosed proximity space. So, you know, if your soldier is like peeking Z or whatever, and you see that they're disrespecting the fuck out of the fact that you guys have like 30, 40 ad on them, just use into them and just run their medic down. And then last is free, because of how close it is. So, you know, I don't really think I need to go into extreme detail of how to take a considerable Uber ad push into players that are like disrespecting the space. And that's kind of it for pushing into second. I think it's probably going to be the most likely thing that you guys struggle with to be at TBH, just because it's probably the hardest point out of all the points on this map. Yeah, so that's kind of it for defense and offense on second. Any questions about like roles, or like, you know, like what the flank should be doing? I didn't really go over the flanks role that much, mainly just because for a majority of the time on second, you're not really doing much other than just making sure that they don't shove their flank through just to counter sack in case something happens.
While on defense, have you ever just like shoved from lunchbox out? Because
Like, just
a
like
lot of
just
the
like
AM
this.
teams just haven't like held very close on the shutter, at least
Hmm.
based off my experience. So I've pushed out with my soldier multiple times.
I think that's going to be completely dependent upon who you're playing.
Okay.
I would say that that's not a good default strategy, because if the other team is following their defaults, they're playing in a much better position than you would be if you're going to try to do that. But again, like you just said, if other AM teams are just like clueless and they're just not holding shutter anywhere close that they should, and you are able to get buffs and you think that you can generate a pick off of it, then by all means, have faith in your DM if you think you can punish them.
I got a
And
question. Oh, sorry. Continue. If I
okay.
finish what you had.
Also in the case for offense pushing in, I've also had where me and my soldier just bullied out the other two classes out from lunchbox, but I never knew what to do past that.
I usually
Like,
don't like to rely on just DM checking other players. I usually like for you guys to have like a solid game plan, because you can't always rely on it. But if that is the case, if you find that you're just like kicking their teeth in on the flank, generally the best thing to do is you kind of, assuming that both of your flank players live after shoving, like let's say you either just like bully these players out, or you manage to generate a pick and then the other player fucks off because he knows that he can't hold the flank alone.
yeah.
Kind of two options. You can either just straight up like bot it, just like full send it through with your soldier as well and sack, which
Okay.
that can happen. You know, especially because they're most likely not going to be expecting two like blood crazed kamikazes coming out of the flank immediately after generating a pick. Either that, or you can have your soldier go spiral through lunchbox into heaven, and you kind of bait through lunchbox like this, like just distract for the other team. Make it look like you're going to try to push through here while your soldier gets through heaven and gets on top of their medic to sack.
Okay.
Those are your kind of two like big plays.
Yeah, because in my first team, we would always bully them out of lunchbox like almost every time.
And then just kind of be stuck here.
Yeah, I just didn't
Yeah.
know what to do past that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you just have to work your soldier in, because he's going to be the more likely of the two of you to actually get the med force.
Okay.
And you can either act as bait or just act as a second gun to just like run in with him while he's bombing through.
Okay.
I would prefer that you act as bait, because I think it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to draw the attention of open players and have your soldier get in than it would be for both of you to just bot at them like lunatics.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Is there ever a situation where sending your soldier like when you're attacking second in third drop down would be useful? Because I know
As
that's
in
possible. Yeah.
having him bomb up through
Like
this.
jump
Yeah.
up.
No, no.
No.
Mainly
Okay.
just because you have to walk through this,
Yeah.
and this is where their soldiers probably going to be playing anyway. And so you're going to end up being in a position where if you walk forward here, not only is your buff going to pretty much completely fade by the time that you get through here because you have to injure yourself to get up here anyway, but by the time that you get through here and you peek this, if this motherfucker's playing in his default and spots you, high ground is not your friend here. Like it's not because you don't have anywhere else to go. You either have to just like full commit, which means that potentially just like straight up feeding, or you know you have to back all the way back out through here, which is just like it just wastes time. So generally, no,
Okay.
that is just not. It's not a legit play. I think if it ever has worked for anybody, it's just pure dumb luck that the fact that their soldier or whoever was not holding this position correctly.
If we if our flank is like able to read that the soldier's often not in position, would that be an option?
I mean, shit, anything goes if they're playing out of position, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just let that. I'll leave that completely up to you guys. Sure. I mean, anything can work if it's a punish for them,
Okay.
the other team not playing correctly. So, I guess. But it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't
really
be like a go-to plan.
It should be like a plan like D.
Yeah.
Not a plan A, B, or C. Yeah, it's kind of it for second. Good luck. I fucking hate this point. Okay, I'll go over mid now. I'm gonna go over holding and pushing into mid because it's just gonna take like basically no time at all. Mid fucking sucks to hold. It's really ass. And generally, what I was talking about regarding yard control means that mid, a majority of the time, is not consistently being held by a defending team. So generally speaking, whatever team has yard control most likely is going to have control of mid. And a sort of way to kind of accentuate this is basically like if you're the defending team holding mid, you have to kind of deal with a team that can push out and get on top of you through these chokes because this doorway is fucking massive. So it's really easy to get a soldier or two soldiers through here really quickly, or like a demo man or whatever. And if you decide to fucking forward hold this door, if one of your dumbass flank players feeds, you're fucked. Because you basically have nowhere to go. You have to go all the way the fuck back over here, and you have no vision while you're pulling back to there. So you have no idea if they're full wrapping you through your own choke, or you have no idea if they're in the air unless they make it really obvious, right? So it's just shit. So generally, I would say like if you have to hold mid, you're most likely going to be at disad, which is an acceptable time to hold mid because you can set up sacks as they're walking through to cap mid. And the best place to hold that is to hold it from catwalk, I would say. Either catwalk or garage. Reason being is just because it's nice to have visual on height, and you can have your soldiers spotting choke or spotting garage, or you can have like a scout playing like you can have your flank scout spotting garage from your choke or whatever. Like it doesn't really matter. And then from there, if you want to have your soldier do like a one off the floor, one off the wall there to sack as they're getting through choke or whatever. Like you can have deep spotters for this. You can have your scout playing here, spotting choke, or your soldier or whoever.
Could holding mid be like a similar situation like on Metalworks mid that you told us about, where like you don't really hold it, you just kind of send you send like a sack while you're trying to get into Metalworks second, but if that doesn't work, you back up to your side of the mid on Metalworks.
I would say it's a little less of that, primarily because you're not really sending sacks in on second that consistently, and it's a lot easier for you guys to hold this for them to try to counter sack through than it would be to hold mid.
Yeah,
So
I mean in terms of like similarity when you're holding mid.
Kind of. If you lose a player, you don't necessarily have to full back out of yard.
Yeah.
Like you can pull back to like remember what we talked about for the 4-man where you can take your medic back here or take him to choke or whatever.
Yeah.
You can kind of do the same thing if you lose a player here. Like you don't have to full give up space in yard. But if you lose like a relatively unimportant player, like your flank scout or whatever, you don't have to stop holding this shutter, because the other team, unless they're really, really greedy or really confident, most likely aren't gonna try to dry push and take yard based off of like a fucking flank scout pick or some shit. So generally, I would say you don't really have to pull back from holding yard all as much often as you would in comparison to something like Metalworks second.
Okay.
So I think for mid, if you need to defensively hold it, I would say you're most likely going to be in a situation where you're at disad. Otherwise, you're going to be looking to try to take yard control, which we already talked about, busting through and taking control of yard if the other team decides to defensively forward hold it. So realistically, you should never have to be in a position where the other team controls yard and you have to hold mid on evens. It really just shouldn't.
Okay.
It shouldn't really ever have to come to that. And I guess in the event that it does, you should prioritize trying to either hold your yard or get set to hold your second instead of trying to hold mid, because mid is such a useless point. I would much rather have control over my own team's yard as opposed to owning the point on mid. Because if I control yard, the other team is going to have to push into me, and that's better terms than us having to push into their mid. Like it's just easy. It's easier to hold this, right, than it would be to cap mid and try to hold these doorways on mid, if you kind of get what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So that's kind of the mid situation as opposed in terms of like disad. Kind of rat play is you can have a soldier. There's multiple hiding spots for your soldiers where they can just like fucking spider monkey jump on the fucking other team's medic from a deep spot. Like you can have your soldier playing crack here, and where he's literally visible to no positions at all. You have a scout or whoever deep spotting from garage. Hell, you can have your whole combo go like spotting garage, and if they decide to take their beam choke, which is very likely, you do one rocket and you're fucking on top of them really really quickly. So not a bad spot to look to see if you can do like a disad sack. Um, there's also you can hide in the other team's catwalk up there. And you could potentially bomb them if you have a deep spotter from your choke and you see that they're going garage like this. So a couple of it's a really good spot to see if you can try to either even out the Ubers or force their med as they push through from mid. Another reason it's good is because the other team will most likely be operating under the mindset of like, okay, the other team's going to be looking to either control their yard or second, and they're not really going to care about mid. That's going to make teams and players drop their guard. So a soldier sack is really powerful in mid if you're at disad. So definitely look to set it up. I don't remember off the top of my head if there's any wallbug or Batman spots, just because I don't play enough soldier, and this map has not been in rotation for nearly long enough recently.
You can stand on the lamp up there.
I'll find some. I just
don't-
need the map. I don't have
I
the
don't-
map downloaded.
I don't know if that's standable. It's on RGL's website on the Six's homepage.
The lamp that's right next to catwalk.
I know where it is.
No, to your left. To your left.
It's the
Close left. Close left.
What is it like
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, you can stand on that.
I can't remember because I know you can stand on the metal gate on Metalworks, but I don't know if that's standable on this map. But anyways, yeah. That's kind of it for the mid. And I'll move on to the mid fight now, which is kind of simple to be honest. The mid fight on this map is pretty easy. There's kind of two ways that you can go about the mid fight. You can either play on the ground or you can play on the height. Kind of depends on whatever your scouts are most comfortable with. But I'll go over the ground first. So basically, your team is going to be rolling out through choke. You'll have your demo man, your medic, your pocket scout, and you can have both your soldiers roll out choke with you. Full buff them as you're rolling out through choke. And then from here, you kind of just decide if you want to either fast bomb or counter bomb. And the good news for your soldiers is it's really, really, really easy to avoid spam because there's a fuck ton of cover in between their team and yours. And if you want to counter bomb, you have all the time in the world to see that their soldiers are high bombing, which FYI is realistically the only real bomb that you're going to have on the mid, or that most teams will try to spam. So you can literally play in choke and see like, oh, okay, they're high bombing. I guess I'll high bomb too. And then you do one C tap off the ground and then one off the wall, and then boom, there you have your high bomb. And then if you want to spice things up in your life and do it off the left wall, you can do that too. And from there, you're kind of just playing it like how you would a normal mid. Your demo man is going to be playing here around the pack with beam. Your scouts, your pocket scout can take temporary height up here while your flank scout plays on cat, and he can jump in between the height here to apply some forward pressure. He can look to see if he can get through garage if he wants to roll out through there. And if the other team is really aggressively walking onto point, he can see if he can try to get like a pseudo flank. Like you can kind of use the fact that you have really tall, blocky coverage to your advantage to try to make a play. The one thing that you just have to be careful of though is that because it's tall and stuff like that, you can have a hard time as a scout staying on the ground spotting the soldiers. So regardless of whether or not your demo man is going to be playing on height for the mid, your scouts should generally always be in a height position, whether that be up here, here, or just like on the crates. Okay, you don't want to be on the ground, because if you're on the ground, then you're gonna have a hell of a lot harder time dealing with the soldiers who are like 90% of the time gonna be high bombing your medic and your demo. Which that's another thing to keep in mind, demo man. Again, you are the anti-height guy, so if you want to divvy up your stickies between shooting the other team's demo man all the way across the point and bullying both of their scouts off of the crates, it's your job. So you just do that as you would normally. Yeah, basically your medic is just going to be divvying up the buffs and then making sure that he knows when the soldiers are in the sky. And if he doesn't have a good visual of that, if he's playing passively, make sure that someone who does spot it comms it that their soldiers are high bombing, so that your medic knows to look up. In terms of surf ability, Foish, I mean, realistically, your scouts are probably going to be on their soldiers before they actually land on you, just because of the sheer height that your scouts can get. Which, by the way, Drew, this is an example of why having the winger on this mid fight is so damn good, because you can do that immediately. So yeah, definitely worth running.
Yeah, I've played this map on flank scout before, so I'm familiar with the winger's capabilities.
If you want to surf, a couple of safe locations generally are you can surf potentially up to cat, or if you bait, you have quite a bit of height here to surf back through choke, and then your scout can kind of deal with the soldiers that might be W keying at you. So you don't have to feel the need to constantly like be walking forward with your demo man. You can kind of play a little bit passively and just keep your eyes up. But I'll leave that up to you. So that's kind of it if you are on the ground. And when I say on the ground, I really am only talking about your medic and your demo. If you are going to roll out and you are going to have your medic and your demo go cat, two things to keep in mind. One is that your demo man is not going to have a pack. So demo, you have to be careful and you have to not overextend on this rollout, which I also just realized I forgot to show the rollout, so I'll go over that when I'm done explaining the mid fight. But you will end up rolling out here, and you will walk forward like this, and you want to basically just avoid being Habib. Habib is known for just killing himself on these rollouts, or just getting himself killed really, really, really easily, for whatever reason. There's like 3 funny clips of him doing it. Yeah, you roll out up to here and you pre-fire their demo man. So if you know where their demo man is going to roll out, you pre-fire him in cat, or you pre-fire the pack if you know that he's going to go choke. Okay, and then from there you wait for your medic to kind of stick his beam up your ass and try to avoid damage so you can preserve your crit heals. And then once you get fully buffed, you walk forward and you jump on top of the crates, and then you can kind of play from there. Or if you find that you're taking a lot of spam from up top or whatever, you can bait down to here and then just walk back across, or you can just straight up just like walk forward through catwalk and then drop and then take the pack or whatever and just play it normally. But if you want to try to stay on height, which is something that you can absolutely do because you'll have an easier time dealing with their scouts, your medic just needs to make sure that he is not overextending too much. So it can be a little bit risky because your scouts are also going to want to be on height. So, but it can definitely work because it makes your demo's job easier of dealing with height. So if he gets more pressure on the scouts, That means your bomb's going to be more successful. That means your mid fight's probably going to be more successful, etc., etc. But it's just more risky because you're in an easier spammable position, and the higher you are up on height, the less time it takes for soldiers to land on you from the high bomb. So yeah. Anywho, yeah, so your medic is following the same path as your scouts. You guys are going to come up to here, and you're going to rotate here. You're going to arrow your demo man or whatever. After you arrow your soldier, you can just stick the beam up his ass if he avoided taking damage. And then you kind of jump up onto here, or your medic. Medic, you can stay playing up on here and beam your scouts while they're playing on height, and then have your soldiers bomb. The one thing that you have to kind of keep in mind is the fact that your soldiers will not be able to get good buffs if this is the case. So if your soldiers decide to still roll out choke while you guys roll out your demo man and your medic through upper, your soldier bomb is going to be considerably worse. So I think for the sake of keeping it simple for you guys, of just having one designated mid to practice, I'd say just get used to rolling out and staying on the ground for now. There's a good explanation that I think Benny, I want to say, has for this map of how to play more than just your scouts on height. But I don't remember exactly which video it was, but he has a good, I'm pretty sure he has a good in-depth explanation for how the mid-fights can work on Granary. So if you want to, Drew, if you want to look at that more and try to run it. But my team, when I played this map, the one fucking season it was in rotation, we just stuck to staying on the ground, and it worked a majority of the time because our medic was kept aware when their soldiers were bombing. So I would say just do that for simplicity's sake. Yeah. So it's kind of it for the mid fight. It's your standard double bomb and cross, and try to deal with scouts on height and get damage on the demo man. In terms of landing targets, soldiers, generally speaking, I think it's probably better for you guys to land on the demo man on this mid, mainly just because the only real person that's going to be contesting your demo man in the initial mid fight is going to be their demo man. Because their scouts, if they're playing on height, really aren't going to be doing a lot of major damage to your demo if he's playing where he should be, which is like right around here. And their soldiers are going to try to land on your demo most likely. So if you land on their demo, that makes it so that your scouts can do their job easier of protecting your demo man from the other team's soldiers, and it kind of has that domino effect, like on Snakewater, where you land on their demo man, which makes your scouts more likely to live, which makes your scouts' job of dealing with the soldiers easier, which makes your demo man more likely to live, which means you guys win the mid fight. That's the sort of like cause and effect. You can also just say fuck it. If the demo man's just not working, or you're getting demo picks but then you're still losing the mid fights, fuck it, just bomb the med. It doesn't matter. You can do kind of either. Whatever you think is going to work better for you guys, depending on who you're playing against and how well the mid fights have been going. I really don't think that I need to show you guys these bombs. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Just make sure you can C-tap, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you don't even really need to, but C-tapping helps. And that's kind of it for the mid fights. There's not really a shit ton of differentiation you can do. There is one mid that you can try where instead of having your demo man and your medic and all that play in a default position to kind of double bomb and walk across the point while applying pressure, I've seen some teams do like a sneaky thing where they take their combo left and then bomb their soldiers like almost immediately and full wrap. The only reason I don't really like that is just because it makes it so that your scouts don't have height. So like you can get the drop on like a demo man if he's expecting you guys to play a default mid, but instead he's here. So you can potentially get the drop on a demo man, but their soldiers are going to have a lot easier time cornering you guys if you try to do that. So again, just for simplicity's sake, I would say just practice the default mid, which is just what I explained. Of just your defaults for positionings and stuff like that. So any questions on the mid fight? I might have overworded it a little bit, but it plays pretty damn simply. You guys will see in scrims.
No, I don't have any questions.
Seems pretty easy enough for me.
Okay, beautiful.
Maintain height, maintain good heals, same as most maps.
Yeah, it's a pretty damn simple mid. The only thing you have to worry about is just those crates obstructing your height. So I already kind of went over it before, but the route that everyone's going to take is I'll just do med and scout first since it's simple. Outside of left spawn, you go around the fucking thing here. You go through this, go through this, go through left shutter, and then if you want to take your beam upper, you'll do this jump, and then you'll have to wait for your medic to do the crouch jump. You can, to my knowledge, you can glide step that, so you can do it quickly as med. But if you're doing the normal rollout of just going choke, you just do that, and then boom, you're at your position. For soldiers, you have to bear with me because I have not played soldier on this map. I think it's. I'm pretty certain that it's the same for the other 5 CPs, where your pocket soldier will damage himself to 80, and he'll follow that same route, and then catch his arrow in. I believe he catches his arrow like here. I want to say. I think it's
here.
Yeah. And then the roamer, I don't know, Mons. You know how to jump. Just figure it out. What the fuck? I don't know where my rocket went there. But yeah, I mean, you catch buffs out of spawn, and then you can do whatever. You can walk, catch more buffs. Do whatever you got to do, and then yippee.
The catching buffs in second is really important, Mons. If you go too fast, you're gonna show up like completely destroyed.
Yeah, make sure that you don't do a rocket in second here, so that your medic does actually have time to buff you. It may seem slow, but it's not going to be any slower than the rest of your team.
Okay.
And then Demo Man, your rollout's pretty damn easy on this one. You get your buffs or whatever, and then you get as far to the spawn door as you can. Beware that your medic can spawn like all the way the fuck over here, so going and hugging the spawn door every single time is not ideal. The way that I like to go about it, which it looks like they removed the fucking caution lines here. There used to be black and yellow caution lines here that I used as a reference for how far I could go to be away from my medic, which was like around here. But basically, just try not to pass this little like arch you see here, and you'll most likely be close enough to catch buffs. You can take a quick glance and see where your medic is to see how far you can go yourself. And then it's one off the wall like this, and then you do what is it? It's like you do like one off the wall like this, and then you catch the pack there, and then that. It's pretty simple. And then if you're going upper, you do instead of doing it off the left wall here or whatever, you do it off the right wall and then strafe up here like this, and then there you go. It's pretty easy. It should be a 3 sticky bomb rollout if I remember correctly, but bear with me, I haven't played this map since like fucking on demo since like fucking season 16 or 15, 17, 18. I don't remember. Yeah,
Numbers
it's
getting
pretty
up there.
easy. It's a fucking straight line. You guys got that.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Yeah, that's kind of it. Really, the only way that I can see that this map like is like difficult for people is just they struggle with second. Is just by far it's probably the most difficult point for that most teams struggle with. So if you guys find that you are struggling with it, feel free to ask for a demo. Just go over the demo and you can figure out where like what's happening. Like maybe heals aren't where they should be, or people aren't getting properly buffed, or people are over peaking, whatever. Like it could be micro stuff. Like micro stuff is very, very, very heavily punished in second. So if something is going wrong and you don't realize that it's going wrong, then you guys should do like a team demo review or like ask me to or whatever, because this map is pretty foreign to most people, understandably, because it's old as fuck.
All right.
But just be thankful that it's not fucking Badlands. They could have picked other worse maps from the same era that this map was regularly played. I'll just say that. Fucking gravel pit used to be played in 6s.
Oh, 3 hours of gravel
We
pit.
love gravel
3
pit.
hours.
Yeah, they had like a whole config dedicated specifically to that map, and finally the community was just like, "Bro, we don't want this." Alright, my voice hurts now, so.
I'm assuming no other questions.
For the medic rollout to upper, like on cat with the
Mm-hmm.
crouch jump onto the hose. You mentioned the glide step thing. I don't know what that is.
Oh, glide step is basically just when you walk up to this here, you'll do a normal crouch jump, and then you jump and then tap crouch when you reach the apex of your height, and then
Okay,
you'll
gotcha.
quick while holding W. So
Okay,
it'll look like this if you do it correctly.
all right. I've used that before. I just didn't know the name of it.
Yeah,
I
it's just
love glide steps. Jump chocological bonus.
yeah, it's the mythic. Let me actually see. Let me see how it feels on medic. Can he glide step this too?
Oh,
No.
he
Oh yeah.
can't.
No, he can. He can.
Wow.
Crouch
Isn't
and
it
then
a full
jump.
jump? I mean,
It's
I know
crouch and then
like
jump, release, crouch and then just.
Yeah, like that. That'll do
okay.
it.
All right.
You don't even you don't. I mean, you can just do this and then.
I'm not doing that on the hose. There's no way. I
Yeah,
like the
just
failure rate on the hose is too high to justify the speed.
the glide step is like a micro thing to just get
Yeah.
a little bit of extra time. It's really not that necessary. If you find that just doing a normal crouch jump like that is easier, then by all means. But you can glide step if you want to be fancy. It
Yippee.
is technically faster by a fraction of a second.
All right. Any other questions?
All right,
Okay.
good luck. This is Unk territory.